Hello, everyone. This is Kavita Melwani with Aligned and Soulful, and I am so excited to come to you live today to discuss a topic that I have felt myself and I've seen in my clients. And I'm hoping that by listening to this, you are receiving something that you can take, something tangible to help you with this. And what I'm talking about is a burnout and specifically how burnout is preventing your abundance as a leader in your life, your work, your business. And this burnout, even though it's been talked about so much everywhere, is something that can really impact you on levels that you may not even be conscious of. Okay. And so this is actually a second part in my series on money and women of color and leadership. And so, in this particular um, video, I am going to talk about perceptions about money, how money shows up for us, our beliefs that impact our burnout. And I also believe in giving solutions that are implementable. So I will do that and end with a powerful visualization to help you move forward. So, and I would love to hear from you afterwards to see what you received. And so, for those of you that don't know, I am a leadership coach who specializes in empowering women of color to lead through their inner wisdom so that they can live their purposeful lives and do their work in the world. And I believe it's important to discuss abundance and money because when we as leaders of women and women of color have the income, then we are able to create change in the world. We are able to invest in things that are going to support the world, even if those investments are other women in business to support their businesses, to support their households. We can invest in causes that we believe in. We can spend the money. Our money is our way to, and how we spend the money is a way to also support others, right? And so there's so many ways that bringing in that abundance of income is helpful, right? And is going to help the world just be a better place. And so the challenge with this is that for a lot of women of color, money is not something that is okay to talk about. And if you grow up talking about it, it most likely, and not this is not the case for everyone, right? But it most likely was more in a way of lack and not in a way of abundance. And so that, as we move in life, it becomes an unconscious way of functioning. And so it's really important to bring that conditioning that you have, those beliefs you have, about money into the conscious mind so that you can shift and change them. And if you missed the first time I spoke about this, there was one episode that was called The Energy of Money on my podcast. And so that's like a kind of like a precursor to what I'm talking about today, but you don't have to listen to that to listen in today. If you haven't seen that, that's episode 19, Aligned in Soulful Leadership, my podcast. And so you can go and check that out. I'll also put the link in the post later on. And so in this live, I'm going to talk about how do you see money and how does money come to you. Also, if you consider yourself burnt out, and what does that actually mean? Although, that's being said everywhere, what does that mean? How do your perceptions and beliefs about these things, how are they impact you? Right. And I hinted at how a lot of it may be unconscious. And then again, like I said, I'll end with a visualization. So, burnout is actually more complicated than I thought. So, I've used the word and I've heard this word being used and I've seen it everywhere, and you probably have seen it everywhere as well. It's been a big part of the discussion on the great resignation. And, part of it is the burnout. I will say that I've seen more of that with women, a lot of women, especially that have children. And there's been a sense of, that kind of overburden of responsibility for education now and children and mental health and all the things, right? And so a lot of times women have been impacted and feel the sense of burnout. But what exactly is that, right? What is burnout? So I'll give you a couple of different definitions. They have some overlap, but I think it's important to define it because when we define it, when we use our words to explain what it is, then we can start to have the language to explain how we're feeling. And that brings it to our awareness, and we can start to maybe choose differently. Okay. So, according to the World Health Organization, burnout is a syndrome that is conceptualized as resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. And they say there's three dimensions to that. It's one is you're feeling depleted or exhausted. Okay. The other is you're feeling kind of a disconnect. They use the word mental distance from your job, um, cynicism to the job, and then finally, they say it's also reduced professional efficacy, right? So maybe you're not performing as well as you normally would. Okay, so that's their definition of burnout. And according to the World Health Organization, this should be just workplace. Okay. On the other hand, if you look at the National Institute of Health, they have a different definition of burnout, right? And so their definition of burnout has also to do with personal life. And it goes into the idea that, it's not just your work, but also your, personal life that can contribute to burnout, which is what I was talking about before. And I think that especially for women, um, and I'll say women of color as well, at a different in a different way, but it applies to both. Is that we we have the ability to separate home and work life, but there is more of a sense of kind of like this kind of connection, right? And so it's just kind of it's what I've seen, right? There's a sense of connection between the home and work life. So just because you're feeling burnt out at work or with your business, um, it does impact how you feel at home and vice versa, right? So if you're feeling burnt out at home, that can impact how you feel um, overall, right? When it comes to your overall sense of well-being. So I think that there's in some ways this sense that it's more than just the work, right? And so they say they separate the National Institute of Health separates exhaustion or burnout, right? They say that a stressful lifestyle can put pressure, right, to a point that a person feel exhausted, empty, and burnt out. Okay, so they're defining it more as like a stress overall, right, versus um, World Health Organization, which is more about work. Okay, and so where are you on this with these definitions of burnout? How do you feel? Right? Really ask yourself and check in about that. And, there are some assessments they have on the websites to help determine. And you could use those, but really, you know, if you really check in, if you really ask yourself, do I feel burnt out? Ask yourself, do you feel more irritable sometimes about work? Do you have the Sunday blues? Um, were you sometimes passionate about what you were doing and excited about things, and those same things just don't don't excite you? They maybe even have got to a point where they feel like just another thing on your list. Um, so those are some ways to tell. And if you're not sure, I'm going to encourage you to reach out to a coach, reach out to a therapist, reach out to someone and have a conversation, and they can help support you. And you can see if you need help, right? If you need that support. I believe that we can all benefit from some external person that can see things in a way that we can't see, right? With the coaching, I always have a coach, and I'm probably always going to have someone to support me. I see a huge difference in my life when I do. So I'm not telling you to do something that I don't do. Okay, so going back to the burnout. If you are feeling burnt out, then how does this impact abundance? Right? So I'm going to talk first about more about the definition of abundance, and then I will connect the two. And in this case, I'm going to use the word money when it comes to abundance because the money is a lot of the ways people define abundance. Abundance to me is defined as more than enough. Okay. And so if you don't want to hear the word money and you want to use the word abundance or something else that you feel is lacking, you can replace that word with what I'm saying. Okay. So, what are the things that you believe about abundance? What are your beliefs about money? Okay. And so those perceptions, those beliefs are often decided way before you can remember. Maybe around the age of 7, or unconscious beliefs are usually determined by then. So if you look back, you can probably think about how money showed up for your family of origin. You can think back about the conversations that you've had and what has been said about money. Even what were the TV shows and movies and all the things that you exposed yourself to or watched, right? So all those things entered your subconscious mind and impact your belief about money and abundance. Some of the things that I've seen and uncovered for myself and my clients is you have to work really hard to make money. Okay. So, without even me going further, you know that if you feel like you have to work really hard to make money, and that's your belief, and that's really what you think, and you're already feeling burnt out, it's pretty obvious that you don't want to work harder, even if you're still not making the amount of money that you want. You don't have the income that you want, right? Because you're burnt out. You just can't do it. You don't have the energy to do it. And so, if that's your belief that you have to work really hard and you're not really working hard, you're not going to have the income. You're not going to have the abundance. Okay. And so that's one way that burnout is preventing abundance. Another belief is money is for other people, right? So, you may have grown up in a household where the wealthy person, the abundant person was someone else. And that was for them. And that was not for you. You are the hardworking, you are the people that are the backbone, or whatever the thoughts are and the perceptions are. And if you constantly think that it's for other people, the money, and that's not for you, and that you're an outsider from that, and that's, not in your life, that's not going to happen, right? And so even if you're working towards that, if you don't believe that you can have it, or that you're in that category of someone that can be successful in the level that you want or have the abundance that you want, then you just won't. If you don't believe it, you just won't. Right? And so you may not even realize consciously that you see this abundance as something that's for other people. But really ask yourself, when you think of someone who's abundant and wealthy, who comes to mind? What type of person comes to mind? Who are the people in your life? And maybe not even in your life, maybe it's people in the media that come to mind when you think of that abundance. Okay. And then the third thought that I've heard a lot is that somehow if you make a lot of money, the only way to do that is if you were somehow a bad person or did something dishonest. Okay. So I'm not saying that there are not people that made money and had success that were not dishonest, right? So there are people that are dishonest and are successful. Okay. But if you believe that's the only way that a person can make a lot of money, if you believe that's the only way to success, then why would you want to do that? Right? Why would you want to be a bad person? Right? You'd rather be burnt out. You'd rather work hard and show that you're a good person versus make a lot of money, which means that you must have done something wrong, and that makes you a bad person. And I know it sounds like an oversimplification, but if it really is a belief of yours that if you make a lot of money, that, that is what not great people do or bad people do, then you will not want to be in that category. Okay. And the other belief that I want to highlight is there is not enough. So this is played out all the time, where if this idea of like extreme competitiveness, and if you get something that someone else won't. Okay, so there's just not enough for everyone. And so if you continue to believe that there's not enough for everyone, that is what you're going to create, and that is what you're going to see. And especially if you have this internal need to make sure that you're a caretaker, you're a person that's a natural nurturer, you don't want others to have less, right? And so there's this idea of I have more, and it's unconscious, then someone else will have less. If I have it, then someone else doesn't have it, right? So that is going to help prevent you from also creating the abundance and the income that you would like, right? And if you don't believe there is enough for everyone, you don't believe that, then, and you're feeling burnt out, there's more of this like just giving in, like they can have it. I'm just too tired. I'm okay without it, right? And so that sense of burnout is stopping you because you think that it's going to be really hard and you're going to have to compete and you're going to have to like push hard and hustle and do all this stuff. So like it's like bringing in some of that working hard piece, but also that there's still not enough. So I'm not only working hard and hustling, but I'm also competing with everyone for it. Okay. And so I know some people won't like to hear this, but I truly believe there's more than enough for everyone. And so these are the main beliefs that I've seen, that they're usually unconscious, or some of them are conscious, and that prevent someone from reaching their level of income and success. And so when you start to bring them to light, when you start to recognize them, only then can you shift, right? The key here is you have to take responsibility. Because if you take responsibility and say that I'm the one that's preventing me from reaching my success, that's actually empowering, but it's also can be disappointing, right? In yourself. Like why did I do that so long? Why did I stop myself so long? Right. And if you can be okay with that and accept that, then you can move forward with the empowerment piece. So I'll just recap the beliefs that I've heard. Okay. One is you have to work really hard to make money. Two, abundance or a lot of money is for other people. Three, if you make a lot of money, then you're somehow a bad person. You must have done something dishonest to do that. And then four, there is just not enough. So if I make money, if I do well, if I'm successful, then someone else doesn't. Okay. And so you can see how I've already started to connect these beliefs and perception about others, and how when you have these beliefs, you will unconsciously push money away. You will push abundance away. So taking responsibility, take a moment now and be honest with yourself. Even if you thought before you were listening to this that you don't have these perceptions, if the external results that you're seeing don't match what your desires are about abundance and money, there are some beliefs that are stopping you. There are some perceptions stopping you. So if it's not showing up the way you like, then it's part of you is repelling it. Okay. Even I've heard people say that, and they've told me, like, I don't like when you use the word money. Right. So, because it triggers them. Well, that's huge, right? If you don't want to even use the word, then that tells you something that you don't even want to have that perception of it in your mind, right? And so even taking this further, if, for you, money is abundant, like there's plenty of money. Is there another area of your life that isn't feeling abundant? Maybe you're feeling somewhat lack of love or relationships or some other areas. And so just really be honest. And then to take it a step further, imagine someone who has that level of abundance, whether it's money or other areas or all of it, that they seem to have it all. What do you feel like when you think about that person? Are there an other? What are your perceptions about them? So if none of the beliefs that I mentioned or don't resonate, then you can go into that direction where you look at the people and you look at the person that has what you would like, and then what are your beliefs about them. So just take a moment and write that all down. Just really take it in. And so when you start to then make this clear to you, then you can start to shift that, right? You can start to work on that. I do have a free abundance visualization and exercise. I'll have the link available for you. And I encourage you to consciously create the vision of abundance that you want. Because most likely you've been creating a lot of this vision unconsciously. Okay. So, how can you create this consciously? And why should you create it consciously? So, I'll give you some reasons. One is that once you're consciously choosing how you want to perceive money and how you want to create abundance, then you can use that to set your meaningful goals. All right. And you can set those goals based on that. And then you can consciously take inspired action. Okay. And use your subconscious mind to move you in the direction of your dreams. To also be clear about what you truly want to create. Right? What is it that you really want? Do you want more energy? Do you want to wake up inspired? Do you want to be healthier and happier? What is it that you really want? And sometimes, even though it may not be the money, that income might be a step in that direction, right? To give you the ability to have some of those things. But if it's not the money, then it's the abundance of something else. What is it that you really want? What is it that you want to create? Okay. And creating that conscious vision and connecting with that vision is what's going to move you forward. Okay. And so I want to lead you through a visualization to start to unlock even more of this. Okay. So if you're in a place that it's safe to do so, take a moment and close your eyes. I want you to take in 3 deep breaths. And with each inhale, feel yourself relaxing. And with each exhale, feel yourself releasing what can be released. So inhaling and exhaling, and doing so for 3 breaths. And when you're done, noticing your body and how you feel. And so I want you to create a picture in your mind of yourself and yourself doing the work that you desire in the world, maybe living the life that you're living. But I want it to be the way that you desire. What is it that you would like to create? How do you want to live your life? So start with maybe imagine yourself waking up in the morning. What do you do? What do you do after waking up in the morning? How do you spend your morning? How do you spend your day? What are the things that you see yourself doing in your day? How do you feel doing these things? So, as much as you can, feel what you feel while you're doing this work in the world. What are you doing during lunch today? This diet day and this vision that you have. How is your afternoon? What do you do spending your time doing in the afternoon? And then the evening, what's dinner like? Maybe even see yourself sitting with whoever you need to, even if it's by yourself, enjoying dinner in the way that you like. And then after dinner, and even when it's time to go to bed, before going to bed at night, what is the gratitude that you feel? What are you grateful for? What is more than enough? What is abundant? What can you trust? How do you feel with all of this? So allowing the feeling to settle in. See yourself experiencing this abundance. See yourself moving forward in this vision and visit this as often as you like. So take that in with a couple more breaths. And when you're feeling ready, coming back and opening your eyes. And good, if you want, take a moment and write down what you felt and what you saw. So today we talked about your patterns. We talked a little bit about perceptions about money. We talked about burnout and how your burnout can be impacting the abundance and money that's showing up. And so I started with this visualization to help you unlock the possibilities of what you can create. And if you're feeling that you want support and you're ready to move forward with money and abundance in a different way, I would love to speak with you. You can schedule a clarity session with me. It's 30 minutes and we'll talk about what's happening for you and see if working together is a good fit or not. So, this is Kavita with Aligned and Soulful. Until next time, take good care and be abundant in all areas of your life. Bye.